What I've been doing recently is we've been watching whatever it is we're watching, and at the very end, I'll come back and I'll do an intro. Today, I'm going to go in not knowing what this is with you. Someone in chat dropped this video and said, hey, you should watch this. It is a 3.5-hour interrogation where at some point this man starts interrogating himself. And that's where we're at. I may have put on too much chapstick, but that's better than having dry lips, I guess.
I'm not demanding, I'm asking nicely. As a kind civilian that also knows how to manipulate cops.
This is 22-year-old Russell Jones.
That is a wild way to start. I'm not going to pause too much because I don't have a lot to say, but that is wild.
Just hours prior to the filming of this interrogation footage, he was arrested for helping a 15-year-old girl execute the brutal murder of her father.
Let's set our clock, shall we?
In approximately 3 seconds, you will witness an extreme shift in his demeanor.
So he's 22 and he helped a 15-year-old murder her father.
You're listening in on my conversations, aren't you? So, we can do this the nice way, or we can do it the hard way, and
Dude, what
I
is
can
happening
release
with this
my
man?
bipolar. Let's make a deal. Do-do-do-do. 1, it's for the food. 2, I see Ellie and Gavin because they are both under my protection. 3, before you release Ellie to her parents, or parent, do a background check as well as a DNA test, as well as, well, not DNA, a drug test. And if you find out that her parent, her mom, is in fact doing drugs, you are to release her to me. Tell him to release Gavin.
I do not know how to respond to any of this. First off, you just murdered a 15-year-old girl's dad. What are these demands? Immediately, what are any of these demands? Why are you making them? Second, the demands themselves, why would they just release a 15-year-old to you? Why would they drug test her mother based on what you say? None of that makes sense to me. I'm looking for answers in a place where they're not going to be.
And Ellie, thank you. And I know I'm being recorded. You can keep that on there. Unless you're a nice cop, then I take it back. But if you're one of those two-timing, donut-eating piece of crap that don't like rules, a high school bully with a badge, I'm sorry, buddy, but I eat high school bullies.
You're
for
22.
breakfast. So, you want the whole story? Make a deal, or I let out my bipolar. Your choice.
Do you think that's his actual handwriting? They can't handle the truth.
Make a deal, or I let out my bipolar. Your choice.
Then he mutes
The following
mic.
footage contains never-before-seen personal accounts of the suspects involved in this crime. Through in-depth interviews, we've obtained rare insight into the minds of 3 criminals who display behavior that is among the most disturbing we have seen yet.
I can still twist your little mind.
Aaron Fryer's murder was reportedly one of the most gruesome homicides Medford police had seen. The investigative team assigned to the case knew there was significant cause for concern. Just from
I cannot imagine beating anyone with a bat. That's just so violent.
viewing the crime scene alone, Aaron's 2 youngest daughters, Sierra and Olivia, walked out of their bedroom the morning of October 2nd, 2017, to find the horrifying evidence of the crime. But their father was nowhere to be found. The 2, who were not yet in high school, called their father's girlfriend for help, and it was not long before the police were involved. Only a few hours later, investigators picked up and detained 3 young individuals, walking roadside a short distance from Aaron's abandoned silver Mercury Marquis. His eldest daughter, 15-year-old Ellen Rose Fryer, was part of the trio. Her 19-year-old boyfriend, Gavin Curtis McFarlane, and his longtime friend, 22-year-old Russell Pierce Jones.
Bro, what are you doing as a 19-year-old dating a 14-year-old girl? You're a kid, but you're an adult at that point. You're an adult kid. You're 19. Why are you even looking at 14-year-olds? That's so gross. That is so gross, dude.
Accompanied her.
What's your first name?
Mike
Okay. Mike what?
Smith.
Mike Smith? Okay.
Yeah, it kind of
Mike.
sounds like one of those weird
Ah.
names.
Mike Smith does sound like a very
Yeah.
common...
Sure it's not Russell?
Well, that is one of the names I know about it.
I haven't patted him down or anything. Wanna go ahead?
I
Okay.
don't really have any weapons or anything.
Okay, well, that makes me feel a whole lot easier, all right?
Yeah.
Just go ahead and stand
I
here and
have
spread your feet
nothing
real
to
quick.
I
There you
probably
go.
would be really stupid saying this,
Uh-huh.
but did you happen to notice my wrists at all?
Your wrists? What about them? I
Well,
stick one.
the
Well,
thing is
good.
that
Dude, I swear to God, if at any point he goes, I don't think I'm liking this arrest. And then he gets in the cop car, the AC turns on, and then cuts back him and he goes, I think I'm starting to like this arrest. Dude, I'm all just TikTok brain rot at this point. Happy Indigenous People Day. Who do we hate? Christopher Columbus. Why do we hate him? So many reasons, dude. I think I'm starting to like this arrest. It would kill me. That would just get me so good.
that I can dislocate my wrist.
Okay, don't do that, though, please.
Okay. You seem like a nice one. So
I appreciate it.
I won't make it hard on you.
All right.
I only make it hard on the bad ones.
I have thoughts about this guy that I think I should just not say because he's going to say them himself. So we'll get there.
I actually started my own protection business.
Did you?
Yeah.
What kind of protection?
I know it's kind of risky, but I work with people 20 and younger, legally considered a runaway type of age.
Okay, so you're going to protect, like, runaways?
They have to run away for some reason.
Yeah. So you provide protection for runaways and get them, like, a place to live?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a lot of places.
Ellen was a sophomore student at South Medford High School, Medford, Oregon, and Gavin was a previous student who had dropped out a quarter before his graduation. Ellen would tell police that she met Gavin walking through South's hallways. According to Ellen, she reached out via Facebook Messenger and started a conversation that would evolve into a forbidden romance.
Dude. If a 14-year-old messaged me at 19, I probably wouldn't even open it. I'd probably block them, honestly. Unless it was like a sister's friend who was like, hey, can you check on your sister? Like, no, that's a block. They're a child.
She, only 15, was underage, and Gavin, 19, was her lover. Friends and family were appalled, but no one as much as Ellen's father. Aaron, in addition to Ellen's mother, Maggie, immediately set clear boundaries. She was no longer allowed to see Gavin. Characteristic to many teenagers who do not get their way, Ellen rebelled. She snuck out and lied to see him, secretly maintaining their bond. It was not long before Ellen's lies caught up to her, and Aaron discovered that, instead of staying the night at a friend's as she'd been claiming, she was sleeping over at Gavin's.
Oh.
Aaron, furious, stormed over to Gavin's house, pounded on his door.
As a dad, how are you supposed to handle that? We talk a lot about like parents and the things that like they do to try and raise their children. This is one of those times where you know as an adult you're in the right, but you cannot convince. Yeah, actually, no, I didn't even think of that. You call the cops because at that point you assume they're sleeping together and that's illegal. Yeah, you're right. I don't know how to handle that before you get to that step. Because you're not going to convince a 14-year-old that they're wrong. You're just not.
And threatened him, warning him not to come near his daughter again, or else. It was following this incident that the couple, in addition to Russell, who claimed to own a protection business, developed an insidious plan that...
As a youth myself, I have seen many youths fall behind in school, join gangs, even some would even run away or themselves due to family issue.
Own a protection business, developed an insidious plan that reached far beyond sneaking out or running away, as is typical of many teenagers. They began to conspire to murder Ellen's father, who Ellen alleged had abused her. Although they initially intended to execute their plan after the new year, when Ellen would turn 16, Ellen began to claim the abuse was growing worse.
And I was not happy with the text.
And that's the one that talked about the abuse?
Yeah.
Okay.
And further, that she was pregnant
Dude.
with Gavin's child. This spurred a sense of urgency that drove them to act sooner rather than later. On the Saturday preceding the crime, when Ellen was absent attending a high school band event, Gavin and Russell attempted to break into her house through her bedroom window with murder.
We understand that it's not the 14, 15, now 16-year-old girl's fault. She's a child. This is what they do. But I don't know how to handle any of this. Obviously, the person who got her pregnant, disgusting. The dude's friend has some visibly noticeable problems. And the dad, it's weird because in her situation, she could call the cops. And if he was out of her life would just be simpler because she would get what she wanted, which was to be with the now 20-year-old, right? Who got her pregnant.
In mind, messaging Ellen all the while. They quickly found that Aaron's girlfriend was asleep in the room and ran off. Although the attempt drew attention and concern, the police were not involved at that point. Aaron would pick his daughter up from the band event, take her and her siblings Halloween shopping, and treat them to break into her house through her bedroom window with murder in mind, messaging Ellen all the while. They quickly found that Aaron's girlfriend was asleep in the room and ran off. Although the attempt drew attention and concern, the police were not involved at that point.
So they broke in and the police were just like, they didn't do anything.
Aaron would pick his daughter up from the band event, take her and her siblings Halloween shopping, and treat them to Burger King the next day, and return to their home to watch a Sunday night movie. The events that followed the next morning were a tragic contrast to this seemingly wholesome day of family events. Gavin and Russell again arrived outside of Ellen's bedroom window in the early hours of that Monday morning. Ellen prompted Gavin to enter, and he obliged, while Russell remained outside in her yard. Over a period of an hour or so, Gavin and Ellen whimsically discussed their future, full of marriage and lifelong love. But this was only to pass time. They were waiting for Aaron, who rested on the living room couch, to fall asleep. Eventually, they heard snoring, and Gavin began to make his way to the living room. His first attempt failed when he accidentally kicked a trash can. It was still dark. Aaron woke up, Gavin retreated to the bedroom, and Ellen pretended that she had to use the restroom. Oblivious to his impending fate, Aaron purportedly said to Ellen, "Stop scaring me with all these people breaking in lately." When the two heard his snoring once more, Ellen handed Gavin an aluminum baseball bat, something Aaron had kept close by for protection, and told Gavin, "Take him out." After Gavin was finished, he sent Ellen a message informing her that it was done. Russell, who had stood outside with a machete for backup, entered the home at that point to assist with transporting Aaron's body.
I don't know. I don't care what the situation is. I don't think I could take a bat to anyone. It would have to be like an emergency, like it is happening in front of me. And that's the only way to stop it kind of thing. That is nuts.
Russell reported that he was shocked and that he immediately retreated to the bathroom, sickened by the scene of the crime. Aaron's face, as shared by Russell, was scary. Due to the nature of Aaron's fatal injuries, Gavin wrapped a towel around Aaron's head and a blanket around his body. Russell, holding the blanket at Aaron's feet, and Gavin, holding it at his head, carried his body out to Aaron's own car and hoisted him into its trunk. Ellen was the last to re-enter her home. She stole money out of her recently murdered father's wallet, said goodbye to her sisters, who later told police they heard their father say a bad word when they were just waking up for school, and retrieved her dog before leaving. The trio proceeded to drive to Walmart while Aaron's body remained in the trunk. Ellen used the money she had stolen to buy junk food and hair dye.
Dude, I'd be so mad if that's the dude who murdered me. Like, I could beat this kid up blindfolded with a hand tied to one of my legs.
Leaving, they walked. Ellen used the money she had stolen to buy junk food and hair dye. Before leaving, they walked into an SSI building so that Russell, who was on disability for reasons we'll learn later, could retrieve money with Gavin serving as his rep payee. The following eerie footage captures these moments.
Were they arguing? Murdering you?
They dumped Aaron's body off an embankment along the side of a road. Also off the embankment alongside the road, they threw various incriminating pieces of trash and clothing articles.
If Lee kills me, she has a good reason. Not my business.
He ditched Aaron's car and walked away with plans of hiding low in an abandoned house and eventually retreating to California.
I gave you guys what you wanted. Normally, it would take about 24 hours to get missing persons report if there wasn't evidence of blood. Then, if the person's missing for a total of 48 hours, hence 48-hour mystery, dumbass, then you do your little search posse. By
Also
then,
wrong.
Gavin, me, and her would be in California.
Here's something that like we all experienced, especially if you've grown up. You think you're so smart when you're 15. You think you're so smart. And we're all convinced that if we were in this situation, we'd be able to be like, no, I'll be quiet and figure it out and like outsmart an adult. But it took a sentence. It took one sentence for this girl to be like, okay, let's talk. After just being like, I want to remain silent. Kids are stupid. We were all kids at one point, and we're all stupid, and we're all probably still a little stupid.
By the way, did you know sausages are actually the leftover pig guts? And intestines, and the heart, and the liver, pork chops, they're used.
One of the issues with being smart is not understanding that you're stupid. And so smart people tend to be very susceptible because they think they're smart. And smart people are like, oh, I'm too smart to be tricked. But that leads into you being tricked. So yes, she's very good at school. However, she's a terrible liar and she's pregnant by someone she should never have been with because he's 5 years older than her. That's not her fault. She's a kid. That's the problem. She's a dumb kid. That's what people are like. And so people think that they're just, again, including myself, they're a lot smarter than they are and they're going to handle situations a lot better than they actually will. Then you put them in this situation and they all cracked immediately. It took one sentence for the girl to be like, I don't want to talk. Okay, let's talk. It took 10 minutes for this dude to be like, I'm a hero. Let me tell you everything that happened. And the other guy's interrogating himself. What is going on?
And then there was one time he came over banging on my door because he was all mad.
I would also threaten you if you were sleeping with my child daughter as an adult. Like, what is wrong with you, dude? Like, again, I'm not including any of this in the video. I think the video is just going to be like the other dude. But, are you surprised that the father of the 14-year-old that you're sleeping with as a 19-year-old doesn't like you?
Russell would prove even less resistant, uninhibitedly spilling nearly all details involved in the crime.
If you're watching the video on YouTube, I'm not including Ellie's parts. I'm not including Gavin's parts. They're both, she breaks immediately. He breaks immediately. She goes, oh, what happened to my dad? And then he goes, I murdered him. Sorry. So if you want to see that whole thing, you can watch the original video or you can watch the VOD on Twitch. But I'm going to focus on Russell because Russell is interrogating himself and I just want to see what that means and how that goes. Again, these are all people who are dumb. You're 19, you're 15, and you're 22. You're stupid. You just are. There's no way for you to be a smart 22-year-old. However, interrogating yourself, answering questions nobody's asked of you, and then making demands, that's pretty stupid. I still think it'd be really funny if somewhere in the interview, and I'm TikTok brain rotted, if somewhere in the interview Russell goes, I don't think I like this interview process, and then he interrogates himself and he goes, I'm starting to really like this interrogation, it would kill me. I would immediately be on Russell's side. Interrogating myself based on what? You did it, Max. I did, but I'm sorry. All right. And then I represent myself in the courtroom. Objection. But I'm also questioning myself. Overruled. I'm also the judge. It's like a bunch of Mr. Meeseeks, but it's me. Meeseeks? A bunch of Mr. Meeseeks, but it's me. And then I get off because I had ineffective counsel. That's what ends up being ruled. The jury's like, I don't know, we weren't really paying attention. I'm also the jury, but I have no attention span.
Just as Gavin stated he was doing, Russell insisted that he was protecting Ellen. What we are about to observe is among the most bizarre behavior we have seen in an interrogation up to this point. Russell insisted that he was protecting Ellen. What we are about to observe is among the most bizarre behavior we have seen in an interrogation up to this point.
Is that a camera right there?
Yep. So he's just streaming is what. This is just an just chatting stream from Russell. You're right.
Camera aimed at me.
I don't. Well, you can talk to Detective Ford, but I think they're required to. So it's nothing. Like I've had a body cam all day. I mean.
Well, yeah, but see, I don't.
My friend, we're recorded wherever we go. You know that.
Even the police bathroom.
Seems like it. Probably, yeah. You have a seat, man. That way I can sit down.
Well, you can sit down.
Yeah, well, I'm not allowed to sit unless you're sitting. So that way I can sit. Well.
Russell tries to show dominance and control by stating he doesn't want to be recorded, and then after the officer tells him he can sit down, he replies, "You can sit down." This immediately shows he's trying to display his lack of fear of authority. Of the three who participated in the crime earlier that morning, Russell appears to be the least impacted. While Gavin's behavior evolved from casually polite to distraught, and Ellen's from flat to angry, Russell's is steadily lighthearted and upbeat. His conduct is eccentric, driven by a variety of psychological factors that will break down as his interrogation progresses.
Really? Yeah. That sounds true, huh?
It's kind of a nice place.
Yeah, it's probably soundproof so that people,
Well, people can get loud in holding cells. Because sometimes we bring, like, drunks here from driving.
Drunks are the worst.
Yeah. Not a big fan of them.
Not a big fan of them. Like, I protect people, like I said.
Russell persistently claims that he owns a protection business. He unshakingly asserts this, and the police don't at any point question it. When individuals are convinced of something untrue despite all evidence indicating otherwise for an extended period, they're said to hold a delusion. Oftentimes, delusions are bizarre, meaning they're highly improbable or not set in reality. E.g., an individual consistently believes that the neighbor reads minds. Other times, delusions are non-bizarre, involving beliefs that are within the realm of possibility, e.g. consistently believing one is being followed. Russell's protection business could be a delusion, while outside of the norm it could nonetheless be true, qualifying as non-bizarre. We would require additional information, such as input from friends and those Russell claims to protect, to determine this.
I would be really bad at being the police officer in this room or anyone interrogating someone like Russell because I'm too antagonistic. They'd be like, oh, I own a protection business. And then I would ask about it so that I could make fun of them because that's just how I talk to people. That's just what I do. I make fun of people. Sorry, if you have feelings, that's your own fault. And so like he would get mad and the interview would go nowhere.
But I try not to resort to violence.
Good.
I always try and talk to the person.
Yeah.
Her father is a drunk. Compared to what she's told me. And I've only talked to him over the phone probably once or twice.
Over the phone is
really
wild.
Not that good of a father.
Really?
Yeah. He,
Her father?
Yeah.
Who is her father's name, you know?
All I know him as
If I know.
is, Aaron. That's all I know. Aaron. Of course, then again, I know, like, Aaron Martinez, Aaron, her father, but I don't know his last name.
What's with the names?
And I know Aaron Novi. So.
Okay.
Russell starts
It'd be so funny if he just named every Aaron he could think of. Aaron Hernandez, Aaron Rodgers, Aaron from Pokemon, that's Aron.
rambling, and the investigator allows him to do this. This is a strategy to keep the accused talking so they feel comfortable, and the more comfortable a person feels, the more likely they are to say something incriminating. This is also a way for the officer to build trust.
I met him when I was living in Medford, working at a place called the Purple Parrot. He was trying to find a job so he could find a place to live because he was homeless. He was very sweet, very clean cut, you know, very nice. He's just a savior. That's all he wanted to do was help people. You know, all his life he was let.
America needs more jobs. To solve this issue, I intend to hire individuals. I'm gonna just read things like they're spelled right. America needs more jobs. To solve this issue, I intend to hire individuals that are changed criminals that want a better life. To individuals that are laid off / fired, why would you hire criminals? Why changed criminals? I'll tell you why. I think something to change for the better they need.
Down, he went from foster home to foster home to foster home. So I would let him come in to get warm. And then one day, he didn't even have a coat. And it was like 3 degrees. And I go, where are you going? And he says, well, I'm just going to walk around until McDonald's opens. And I'm like, no, you're going to come home with me so you'll be warm. I felt like, enough was enough. This poor kid needs some help, and no one's going to help him.
I think it was like a good 2 years that he was in our lives. Mostly in my mom's life. Like he really did become like a son to her. Anytime he was looking for help or willing to take help, she would help him.
Russell stated previously that he's diagnosed with autism. As a neurodiverse individual, Russell likely struggles with certain aspects of communication. Although he largely displays well-developed social skills, he exhibits circumstantial speech here. The various individuals named Aaron are not directly related to the conversation at hand. We'll continue to observe examples that support this diagnosis as well as others throughout the interrogation.
Yeah, I know.
I don't think I've ever met her father before.
Yeah.
I don't think I've met her before.
You don't.
I like how the cops like, oh no, he's naming Aaron's. All right, how do I steer this back? I don't think I've ever met her father before.
Want to?
I've never met you, and I don't think I've met a
Yeah,
guy
the
either.
hunting rifle. Yeah.
It's a nice one, or?
I've never seen it.
Oh, okay.
I've never met
How'd
her.
you know he had one?
She told me.
Oh, okay.
Because he
like
likes to
so.
drink a lot.
Oh, okay.
So, and the other night, the reason why I was helping her was because he went into her room and laid next to her.
I don't like where this is going. Really? She tell you that?
Yeah, and that's why I got her out.
Okay.
So, yeah, we went down to the park. We met up there. I told her just like leave everything.
Yeah.
And just like get the hell out of there. Grab like a
What
bag
park?
of clothes. Union? I think.
He says Union is a question with his voice trailing upward. These are both indications that he may be lying. He hasn't said prior to this, so it's not a normal pattern of his speech, and answering a question with the inflection of a question shows uncertainty in your answer either because you're lying or aren't confident in the response being correct.
Yeah, but I've always been kind of
I don't know the names of parks. I don't. Like the only park I can name is Balboa, right? But that's because it's massive. I've lived so close to so many parks that I can't name any of them. I've lived so close to so many parks and I can't really name most of them. Speech analysis, yeah. There's a few things that like Ellie specifically does every time she lies, but she's also 16 and just dumb.
yeah, protector of people, so. Okay.
My life qualifications: counselor, but never counseled, helped, but never got help, protected others, but never trusted others, but never trusted, loved others, but never loved, loyal, always cheated on, educated, but never taught. Okay? So what he's saying is like, I'm a counselor, but I never got counseled. I'm a helper, but I never got helped. I protected others, but I was never protected. I trusted others, but I've never been trusted. I loved others, but I've never been loved. I've always been cheated on. I'm educated, but I've never been taught. There's a lot going on here.
I think that he takes it a little too far. One of my family members drank a lot, and he wanted to go over and beat him up because he was emotionally abusive to me. I really disagree on what he did, but I think that he had the right intention.
And way more. You can go to school to be a counselor, but never truly listen. You can go to school to be a cop, protector, and still not protect.
He would always give you a jacket off his back. I mean, he did it in the worst way, but he just cares.
And he also had this grand idea of creating a community for homeless people or just young people that need help, that don't have help. So it's like he was always trying to go out and resource that, like trying to build that up. He still does. He still talks about that. People.
If you have or don't have money, I don't care. I will help anyone 25 and under. I currently live in Central Point, Oregon, but hope if I help enough people to expand to Grants Pass, then to a ex-military bunker that can hold 700 people. Those who are abused homeless, in dangerous situations, want to date boyfriend against parents' permission. I am here to help anyone younger than 30 who has a bad situation of any kind. 30 is max for female, 25 is max for mature males. I want to know what the comments are. There's 22 comments on that one, 4 on the one below.
People looked at him like a protector, and he really liked that. It made him feel valued, gave him a sense of purpose, because that was another problem. He didn't really have a sense of purpose. He was just kind of left in the wind.
Unless people piss me off, then they become the, not really target in a bad way.
Yeah.
Just like target as in like someone that needs a firm talking to.
Okay.
Or a slap across the face, depending on the situation.
How much do they pay you for that? Have you been paid yet, or?
Not financially.
No.
How do you get paid?
I can't legally work with the SSI.
Yeah.
Because I can only work under the table jobs, and those don't really.
How much SSI do you get?
$7.35 plus a $22 check.
Net a month?
Yeah.
Russell begins giving the officer details of his family and personal life, which is a good indication he's developed trust with him. The investigators enter the room, and the officer asks one of them to step out.
Can I talk to you for just a quick minute? Hey, take care, buddy.
You too.
Likely to brief him on what they discuss that is relevant to the case, to see if he is consistent, and possibly to also let him know a little about his personality. So the investigator knows the best approach and techniques to deploy in getting what he needs from the interrogation.
Before we get too wrapped up in this thing, I just got here to work.
Yeah.
So I kind of want to explain why we're here today for you and just have
I don't even know why I'm here.
Okay. I'm going to have you just sit and listen to what the story is. And
yeah, I have nothing to hide. So.
Okay, good. You were very cooperative with us on that last deal.
Except for when the car drove up onto the sidewalk, I was like a little bit startled.
Yeah, surprised, right?
Yeah. Not too surprised in my line of work.
Okay.
And then they told me to get on the ground, and I was trying to go on the ground.
Okay.
And they actually helped me onto the ground. So, they told me to get on the ground, so I'm trying to get on the ground. You don't have to push my ass. Seriously. Seriously? I can do it on my own, dumb.
Take a moment to place yourself in Russell's shoes. This is more than likely not something someone would say to a member of law enforcement in this situation. It's not.
They did this with Ellie, right? Like they showed Ellie's shoes and they said one of the things that investigators try to do is place themselves in the suspect's shoes so that they can kind of guess what questions will be asked of them. Gavin is tricked into thinking he's a hero, that he's saving people. He's saving Ellie. So he starts crying and he's like, I didn't want to do it, but I killed him. I had to get her out of there. And now it's Russell's turn. Russell volunteers information. One of the things that he's volunteered over and over again is his line of work. He's not getting paid for it. It's not really a job. What he does is he asks people if they need help and protection. We don't know that it leads anywhere. We saw Facebook posts with comments on them, but we didn't see the comments. What we know is that he helped plan the murder of Ellie's father and helped hide the body. He was outside during the beating of Aaron with a bat by Gavin with a machete in case Gavin needed backup. So now we place ourselves into the shoes of Russell. We don't know that they know what happened. We know why we're here, but we're probably not going to say anything about it. We've consistently talked about our job of helping others, however that may be. He has spoken about how he thinks drunk people are the worst, including Aaron. He said he didn't really know Aaron. He never actually met him, spoke on the phone with him once. And then he went on a little ramble about all the other Aarons that he knew. So I have no idea. No idea. I was trying to find my way to what he may be expecting, but I don't know. He's just volunteering information. You don't have to do a lot. You really just sit here.
Not tactical, let alone remotely helpful. He does this countless times, and it becomes increasingly clear that there are some other disturbing factors at play surrounding his involvement in the crime.
But you seem like a nice guy. The guy that I was talking to seemed like a nice guy, so.
No Sprite?
That too is that he goes, you seem like a nice guy. The guy that I was talking to seems like a nice guy. He said something earlier like about bad cops, but be a good cop and we'll get along, whatever it was. He seems like he thinks, as they all did, right, that he's a lot smarter than the other people in the room. And that comes back to you're a lot more susceptible to be tricked when you think you're smart, because you're not smart. And when you're so convinced that you're the smartest person in a room, you don't think there's anything you're not going to see coming. And so you're really, really, really susceptible to being tricked easily just by general questions. And that's what this is going to be.
Perfect.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect. Now all I need is a cigarette and I'll be happy. But I doubt we can, though.
You want to get a smoke?
Sure.
Do you have any smoke?
I got some in my desk.
Are we about to smoke now?
Yeah, we can go outside and smoke.
Oh, outside.
Dude, they're going to give him a cigarette? That's wild. All right. Yeah, I get it.
Go outside and have a cigarette real quick?
Sure. All right.
A cigarette and a Mountain Dew to get him to talk. Yeah, I get it. Sure.
Let's go. Yeah, because I smoke, I talk better when I have a cigarette.
You're right.
Right now I'm like stressed out.
Me and my little Mexican self.
The investigators give Russell a drink and allow him to go out and have a cigarette. Both things are done to further put him at ease and to gain favor with him. Sometimes it's used as a carrot to get someone to confess, and they will tell the person that they can smoke after they tell them what happened, etc. People being interrogated are sometimes not yet under arrest, so they can leave if they want to, and they certainly cannot be forced to speak. The police try to make them feel less inclined to want to leave by giving them food and drinks and cigarette breaks, and so as not to violate any due process rights. Russell proceeds to tell investigators everything they need to know.
You can sit in that chair over there. Okay. And we'll bring your food in.
So this is post-smoke? They got him food too? What do you think his McDonald's order is? I'm going to hard say Big Mac. Like, I always want to be like, mine is a double quarter pounder or 20 chicken nuggets. Sometimes both. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while, but I'm a simple man. He strikes me like a Big Mac kind of guy.
Frank came with it. That's soft.
I hate
As has
the way
been
he
the case
does
with
everything.
Russell so far, we have few words to explain what exactly it is that happens next.
What is he hiding at?
That's actually nicer than the hospital ones.
He seems like a cartoon villain.
Over the next few minutes, Russell continues to narrate his experience eating McDonald's French fries, but he also behaves in ways which we really don't know how to describe.
You know what go good with these? It's a party. No.
Yeah? Why can't they show his finger? Like, they guess not show him putting a finger in the socket.
Part of the Reed interrogation technique discussed earlier involves isolation, or letting suspects sit on their own without much stimulation or social interaction. The goal is to increase suspects' feelings of panic or wanting to escape. It seems that Russell responds differently to attempts at isolation than most others. Between his dramatic displays of odd behavior, he begins to leak disturbing information critical to the case. We begin to receive small doses of the terrifying truth.
It wasn't really self-defense so much as it was defending her.
So I've said this on this channel multiple times. I think people will tell you who they are and what they know if we just let them talk. Was not expecting that from a dude just sitting in a room by himself. Like, brother, ask for a lawyer and then just like shut up.
It was, you're listening in on my conversations, aren't you?
Again, if he hits me with that, I think I'm starting to like this interrogation while he eats the fries, it would kill me.
Camera off. Yeah. I don't care if you're fed or not. I can still twist your little mind. Don't piss me off.
Nothing appears to register for Russell in terms of the gravity of his situation. He's unashamedly confrontational with law enforcement when they're out of sight. He holds delusions of grandeur specifically related to power. These types of delusions often form when individuals have been in abusive situations in which they were powerless.
And I think that's really why he went to go help, well, what he thought was helping these people that he got wrapped up in.
I mean, literally, for his 21st birthday, he had never had a...
I'm so confused. Wait, I just realized, does he not know who these people... Did we ever establish a relationship between Russell and Ellie and Gavin? Or did they just recruit him for this?
A party. I made him a cake. We had a little party at my daughter's house. He ran around with the kids, so even though he's 21, he was playing with 10-year-old, you know, and having a great time. I let him to be a little kid because he told me he never got to be a little kid. For kids that are high functioning, they're, you know, very giving, loving. They just want acceptance.
Two cops were nice.
Okay.
He was actually pretty good too.
Or they're baiting you.
Actually bought me food last time. And this time. Maybe I should talk to him more often.
Because Russell continues to talk and is making useful and incriminating statements,
they're just going to leave him in there. Like, if he just didn't say anything, they would have came back in. But because he's just talking, they're going to leave him in there.
Investigator will likely let him sit in the room alone, talking for as long as he continues to do so.
No, I ain't no rat.
Russell had numerous encounters with law enforcement leading up to this moment. There are several charges on his record preceding this crime, including sodomy and abuse in the 3rd degree.
I wonder if I can be an undercover agent.
You'd be so bad, dude. This man would be an undercover agent, sit down at like a bar next to who's investigating. He was like, man, I don't think I like being an undercover agent. Look over at the guy who's supposed to investigate. He goes, I think I'm starting to like being an undercover agent. And then he posted on TikTok and it would get me real good. I think I'm starting to like being an undercover agent.
A really long one. I understand, sir.
There's evidently no one in the room with Russell, so he's either vocalizing an imagined dialogue or hearing someone who's not there.
A really long one. I understand, sir.
We don't know the context of which his relationship with the other two exist. I think they might have just been under his protection company. I think you're right. But that is wild to have just met this man, asked him for help in murdering your dad with you and the future father of your baby, who's been with you since you were 14 and he was an adult. And he said it too. In one of his Facebook posts, he was like, if you need help, if you're a whatever, or you're dating someone your dad doesn't want you to date, there's just so much going on here. And I don't know how any of it is pieced together.
There's evidently no one in the room with Russell, so he's either vocalizing an imagined dialogue or hearing someone who's not there. If the latter is true, this could be an auditory hallucination, meaning that Russell is hearing something non-existent. This, coupled with his delusions, would strongly indicate that he is in a state of psychosis. Individuals commonly reference the word psychotic when they see others acting in an aggressive, unusual, unstable, or other abnormal manner. But the technical definition involves issues with reality testing, distinguishing between what is objectively real and what is objectively not real. Behavioral manifestations may include delusions or hallucinations, and we know that, at a minimum, Russell experiences delusions. We'll later see that Russell previously commented that he suffers from bipolar disorder. Bipolar disorder creates abnormal swings from neutral mood states to periods of abnormally high energy and/or irritability or mania, to periods of abnormally low energy and/or sadness or depression. This mental illness, affecting nearly 2.6% of the United States population, is the country's 6th leading cause of disability, and it tracks that Russell is on that list. Up to this point, we've witnessed particularly strange behavior, but none so strange as what follows.
Did he only eat the fries? Like, I was waiting for him to open what else is in the bag because I thought he was like a Big Mac kind of guy. And then he only ate the fries.
You do know I know you're listening, right?
Mm-hmm.
So listen here. Ellie Fryer is my client.
Again, he's going to start making demands. We saw the demands earlier. I don't know what part of you decides it's smart to look into a camera and say, we did this, but they're my client. Also, they will only talk with me there. I'm their lawyer. Free them right now. Don't know what part of you is able to do all of that and go, this is a smart decision. This is a smart thing to say. And it's a thing. We go all the way back to smart people or people who think they're smart, thinking they're too smart. If you're a smart person in this situation, you shut up and you ask for a lawyer. That is it. You don't talk. You don't let yourself get tricked into being talked. You don't let yourself get tricked into talking. But when you're someone who just thinks they're smart, you end up sitting in a room alone and giving away all this information for fries and what I think is a Big Mac.
My protectee. I would like to see her. Asking. Being polite. I know
Very
you're looking
demure.
directly at me, aren't you? The information I gave is not worth $6. It's worth a lot more.
Russell behaves as though he's a supervillain. He's so removed from the reality of the situation that it may prove difficult to imagine the events that occurred earlier that day. When he accidentally turns off the recording device, he seems surprised that he can do so and begins playing with it. The gravity of the situation he's in is clouded, but we don't yet know by what. He's visibly happy with this new sense of control he feels by being able to turn the recording device on and off.
Red means you can't hear me. Green, you can. Gavin and Ellie are to be released to me because the assault her father did the morning of the incident, defending a female. Now here's the thing. I know the cops' twisted little pathetic rule game. And actually, sometimes I like to think that I invented the rule book. I'm not exactly bragging, but I use reverse psychology, which makes me be able to...
Russell steeples his hands, which is a gesture to indicate superiority over those you're speaking to.
Make you think it's not Gavin, but in fact, your own kid, by reverse psychology, making you look like the lunatic. We can play it the easy way or the hard way.
There is too much going on here.
I'm talking nice. You got two choices. One, put a bullet through my head, or two, for all the evidence that I gave you guys, right there on a silver platter, right there, down to the last detail. Not one thing missing. A whole list, step by step by step. Even a third grader could read how easy that was. For one, Ellie is still technically a minor.
Russell is speaking to the officers in a condescending tone and looking at a non-existent watch. He's under the delusion that because he has confessed every detail of the crime step by step, they owe him something now.
You want to play hardball?
They gave you fries. Again, there's not a lot for me to say here. What I do have to say is maybe just don't confess. I'm not on their side. I think what they did was stupid. I think there are a lot of dumb people. I think they are dumb people. I don't know how much evidence you need to convict. Probably a lot less than they've already given you. You have a body, right? He's told you how they did it. It was planned, premeditated. One of them full confessed. One of them was like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to kill him, but I did. Ooh, do they have the body? I might be making that up because they said they were looking for it and they knew where it was, but I don't know that they have the actual body yet.
I played baseball when I was younger. I wouldn't go there. And I know everything that I'm saying is being recorded, and I'm doing it on purpose. I can easily turn the speaker off and rant, and then you guys will come in thinking I'm a loony because you don't hear me. Here's the thing. I'm not the one with the donut fetish. Give a cop a donut, and he'll want a coffee to go with it. Give a mouse a cookie, and he'll want a glass of milk. Give a moose a muffin, and he'll want something else. But here's my favorite one. What is it when a cop car is towed by a tow truck? Pulled pork.
When the officers don't respond to his threats, Russell...
The cough at the end is wild. It would have been so good if he spent the entire half hour in here alone making cop jokes. Like the pulled pork, if he just like kept going, said nothing else, confessed to nothing. They walked in, he's like, wait, I'm only halfway through my set.
begins making police jokes and using police stereotypes. He continues on his narcissistic rant and delusions of having control and dominance in this situation.
So, we can either tell pig jokes all day, or we can have a little chat. I'm very, good at convincing people.
I don't think you are,
and I don't even use hypnosis. I think I just said
Again, Russell speaks to someone who is not there.
Is that a slow
This
team?
is either a hallucination or vocalized internal dialogue.
So, Ellie is to be handed over to me as soon as you guys can get her here. 2, Gavin is released so that when Ellie's kid is born, it can have a father.
Ellen had faked a pregnancy, and there was talk that she used this as a tool to motivate Gavin and Russell to kill Aaron.
There's no way. After all that, you're telling me she faked the pregnancy? Again, if you're watching the video and you get this far, I'm pretty sure I'm going to cut out all the Ellen parts. But that is wild. What we got out of her was she was 14, started dating a 19-year-old. She's now 16 and pregnant. And so that was the time to kill her father, who had objected to her dating a literal adult as a child. So, what a time.
First got locked up. She was trying to tell everybody she was pregnant. She was not pregnant.
She told you she was pregnant?
I've known for about 2 weeks now.
2 weeks? She told you?
I'm very, good at convincing people.
Again, all of like Ellie's stuff and all of Gavin's stuff is going to end up being cut out, so I'm not too worried about it. We really just focus on Russell, but we'll get there. It is 90 more minutes, and I think it's just her for the next like half hour.
You want to see a magic trick? Hocus pocus.
Ellen spends a large portion of her interrogation blaming Russell, and Russell spends a large portion of his interrogation demanding her release. It's a tragic contrast.
3, all charges are to be dropped.
Well, that's because he thinks he has some like power when he doesn't.
And every recording due to that is to be destroyed.
Russell seems completely detached from reality, relishing in his perceived position of power by the demands he makes.
I know cops are really good at that. Oh, I misplaced that file. Oh, I know your sick, twisted games, boy.
Boy.
2 hours. Because I know Gavin has been put in a different holding cell in a different building. Release him, bring him
Has
here
he?
without handcuffs.
I don't think he
You guys
has.
can hold on to the goods. I really don't give a So, we can do this the nice way and we negotiate, or we can do it the hard way and I can release my bipolar.
Wild thing to say. Just straight up wild thing to say. Let's talk about the easy way and negotiating. What do you have to negotiate with? The two other people have given everything. You've given a lot of information yourself for literally nothing. You just sat there and spewed out information just because what, you're bored and you think you're smarter than the people around you?
I didn't even know how to beat the legal system with its own laws, too. Never tricked me, buddy.
What are you diagnosed with?
Autism, bipolar, definitely don't get me mad. 90% of the time I'm cool.
Okay.
Unless you give me reason to hit you, then I hit you.
Which actually, you don't really want that.
What does that mean? You didn't mute it.
He seems to grow increasingly frustrated when none of these tactics gain traction. So he next tries setting a time limit to which they must comply, and arrogantly turns off the recording, gesturing to it as if it's some sort of standoff that the police are actually contemplating.
You're not, I was about to say, this man is not capable of muting himself for 2 hours. And just as I'm saying that, he goes to unmute. Yep.
Okay.
Right there. Kind of are, big dog.
Clock's ticking. Gavin, Ellie, there. Or I say no more.
You've said enough. You all have said enough.
Punk.
These are nonverbal signs of aggression and dominance.
Let me just crack my elbow into your microphone. That'll show you. That's so funny. What is this? Does my arm look like that? There's no way. No. Okay.
Oh, McDonald had a...
Keep in mind, he said 2 hours. It's been minutes, right? We're at 37 right now. He's going nuts. He's at 35.50 when he's making demands. It's been 2 minutes. Not even a full 2 minutes.
Oh, McDonald had
a minute and 20 seconds.
E-I-E-I-O. And on that farm, he had some bacon.
Russell begins to more directly mock law enforcement, showing clear signs of lack of respect for authority. He's joking, but there are highly negative undertones to what he relates.
With a grease there and a grease there, everywhere grease all over the road. Whee! All the way home. 5 little piggies eating at the trough. Wait, no. Wrong one. 3 little monkeys jumping on the bed. Wait, no. Hey,
you're not doing great,
you guys want to hear another cop joke? 3 little pigs fell in the mud. That's a dirty joke. You want to hear a clean joke? You didn't scrub hard enough.
His behavior grows progressively confrontational, and his demeanor is far less lighthearted.
Oh boy, that's not good. I should really have a talk with my bipolar side.
No, you shouldn't.
Yes, I should.
Some may argue that Russell is unknowingly working against the potentially damaging effects of the isolation aspect of the Reed interrogation technique. Russell takes control of his situation, regardless of whether it's founded in reality, likely reducing his feelings of boredom, thereby contributing to reduced emotional or psychological distress.
That would absolutely kill me. Like, I would ask for a lawyer immediately because I would get too bored and I would, yeah.
Please send Gavin and Ellie Fryer into this room, please.
You gave them 2 hours, dude. It has been less than 10 minutes.
Thank you. Asking nicely.
Also, they're just not going to do that.
But Russell's behavior is still notably histrionic, similar to what we see throughout Ellen's interrogation. He puts on a variety of melodramatic displays.
Scissors and pocket knives are nowhere on me,
Okay.
but my teeth are very sharp as well. I just found the wire that goes into the wall, and I'd really hate to get hurt by a cop. Or is it the other way around? I forget.
What?
The police continue to let him speak, giving him all the rope he needs to hang himself further.
Who cares anyway? I just saw Gavin go by. Here's the thing. You passed the door. Bring him back. Please.
I don't think he's
Thank
there,
you.
dude.
Individuals exposed to violence often display violent tendencies that develop as defense mechanisms. Here, it's almost as if Russell is putting up fists preparing to fight with his past, the one which reportedly included a significant amount of violence.
What happened here?
One thing that we, just to kind of run you through it, and I'll let Jim take over, is you wanted to have a cigarette. We went outside.
Yeah.
Gave you a cigarette.
Yep.
I advised you of your Miranda rights. You remember that?
Yeah.
You said you understood your rights.
The investigator wants it on record that he allowed Russell to smoke a cigarette and that he advised Russell of his Miranda rights
Twice.
The investigator begins to quickly recap his previous testimony and what they did on the crime scene visit so he doesn't have an opportunity to retract his prior statements of guilt.
This phone's recorded. It's got a mic.
And you turned it off earlier.
Well, I turned it off and on several times.
You really told us that last night is when you and Gavin walked over
Yes.
to Ellie's house,
Yep.
and that you met her at Union Park?
Yeah.
Okay, is what you told us.
Yeah.
Is that still true?
No.
Okay.
We could easily interpret Russell's behavior as psychopathic and that he doesn't display signs of remorse, even occasionally laughing. Based on information from sources and from what Russell has stated about himself, he more likely does not comprehend the true meaning and impact of what he's done.
Also, like, he's convinced that he's a protector. So why would he feel bad about protecting someone? Right? So, like, he not only probably doesn't understand the part where he has to feel bad, but he also probably doesn't think that there is anything to feel bad about.
So why don't we start from the beginning?
Okay.
And just give us the. I mean, you've been very cooperative and truthful. So
You're very intelligent.
Yeah.
Russell is more likely to respond by continuing to be truthful because he may wish to be perceived as intelligent.
Yes. Well, they've done that to all three of them, right? They told Ellie she was super smart. She takes all these AP classes, so she obviously can't have a bad memory. They told Gavin that he was a hero, that he was just trying to do the right thing and helping Ellie get out of there. So he confessed because, like, yes, it's why I killed him. And now you're telling this kid he's super smart. Goes, I am smart. This is what I will do to outsmart you. And then he's going to give out all this information.
That was part of his problem, is because he can hold an adult conversation, and you think, wow, this kid's pretty smart.
Well, no,
But
I don't think
it's not because
that.
he knew what he was talking about. It's because he memorized what he had read.
So we headed over. We waited across the street, down the alley. We were waiting there. He started wanting to head over, and right when I wanted to head over, she texts. So it's almost like she read my mind. So we headed over. He went through the gate, because we were going to go through...
When you talk about he again.
Gavin.
Okay.
Went through her window. I followed shortly after. Kind of nervous about it, but hey, it's what I do for a living. We got all the bags loaded
What I do
out,
for a living.
and she said that she's going to grab the keys and pull the car around. While Gavin, I say, talks to the guy, but that's far from.
There is widespread belief that individuals on the spectrum cannot distinguish between moral right and wrongness. Contrarily, individuals diagnosed with autism often possess an even greater conceptualization of right and wrong. In Russell's case, he seems to have an extreme idea of what is right in this situation,
Yes.
believing that what happened to Aaron was fully justifiable.
Did you ever come to...
And that's, again, why he's not going to feel bad. It's not necessarily that he doesn't understand that he should feel bad, whether or not that's true. Before that comes the fact that he doesn't think there's anything to feel bad about. Like, this is a man, when you're justifying your actions, you shouldn't feel remorse over them, is what this ends up being.
Through the window?
No.
Okay.
No, I only went through the front door.
Afterwards?
Yeah, after the beating.
Okay.
Just as Gavin told investigators that he hit Erin instead of killed.
After I hit her dad.
Russell tells investigators that he only entered the location after the beating versus after the killing or the murder. This, again, is distancing language, essentially psychological avoidance.
So earlier, at this point, what you told us was her dad came in with a gun and threatened him?
That part was not true.
Okay.
I just wanted to make it look like he was a good guy. And he is a good guy, trust me.
Who is?
Gavin.
Is he? Is Gavin a good guy?
When you went in, what did you see?
So we talk a lot about focusing on who people are before you listen to the things that they have to say. Do you trust someone who says, I'm a good guy, when all you know about them is they're a 19-year-old sleeping with a 14-year-old? For me, that's a no. I don't care what it is you have to say from then on. I'm not on board with the 19-year-old sleeping with a child.
Very scary face.
I think what you originally told us, that his body was still twitching when you got there?
Yeah, he was dead. Gavin checked his pulse and everything. It was still moving due to the gases and stuff and the chemical mixture within the body.
Okay.
I went through the front door, went straight to the bathroom.
Okay.
Because I was like,
Okay.
there's a dead body.
What we're learning
Yeah.
is something that Ellie has been wanting to happen for a while. And that the three of you guys have been having those conversations.
I was not in the planning of killing him.
What he says here contradicts his prior testimony, the evidence, and Gavin's testimony.
We've been talking about like moving her out several weeks, and then the big finale was make it look like he kidnapped her.
He calls the plan to make it look like a kidnapping, the grand finale, once again showing no remorse, almost as if this is a movie or novel plot.
I don't know if I missed it. I really don't. I know we came to the conclusion that he's just like the person that they asked for help from, because he's like, I'll help you. I'm a protector. But I have no idea how long they've known each other, where they found this man, if they found him from his Facebook post. No clue.
And put him in a car. Gavin would drive over state line to California. I was going to do...
you guys are going to tie him in the front seat of a passenger car with him alive and drive him across California?
Yeah, that was my idea.
Okay.
Killing was not my idea at all.
Did you know going over last night?
That Gavin was going to kill him? No.
Or assault him?
Well, probably assault, but I didn't expect him to actually kill him. Just like probably a few broken ribs or something.
I mean, that's something he talked about?
He talked about killing.
Russell was aware that murder was a possibility. Under the law, he would have already been guilty of felony murder, which is when, in the commission of a felony, like aggravated assault, i.e. assault with a weapon here, or burglary, if one defendant kills the victim during the commission of another felony, even if it wasn't planned, all defendants can be charged with the murder.
Interesting.
I tried to talk him out of killing him.
I think that's fine for him and Gavin. I think the two dudes should just be charged with the first degree. I really don't know what to do with the girl. Like, she obviously has her own issues, but she's 15. She's a child.
But when they talked about it, what did they propose to do?
Take him over state line, cut the brakes or whatever, make him go into a gas station. Man,
All kinds of things got talked about?
Yeah, but
I feel like that
always
just wouldn't work.
popped holes in every system.
Did Ellie ever come out and say he's going to take a bat and do this tonight?
No, she just said that she...
Gavin says that she handed him the bat.
Yeah.
Go do it.
Did you see that?
No, I did not.
What did she tell you when she came out?
She said that she's going to go around the block, grab the car, give the signal, and Gavin would go take care of business.
So you knew when she had the car that Gavin's going to take care of business?
Well, I didn't know that he was going to kill him, but I thought take care of business as in hurt the guy.
Okay.
Russell contradicts himself by saying he thought take care of business meant just hurt the father, after he just finished telling the investigator all the ways he shot down the other various methods Gavin and Ellie suggested killing him.
So you have the Samsung phone?
Yes. The red and black.
The red and black one? And did we find that on you when we stopped
yes.
You? And is that passcoded?
Yes.
What's the passcode on that?
It's a pattern.
Can you draw the pattern for me? So if this is the top of the phone?
It should be easy.
Okay.
Because my new name is Mike Smith.
Oh, I can already see what it is. Do you recall how they talked about that they were going to kill him, when they wanted to kill him? Besides the big...
Man.
Of all these pages that I wrote down, the majority of this sounds fairly accurate.
Yeah.
It's just the gun stuff wasn't accurate?
No.
Okay.
I just wanted to make it look more helpful on his end.
Consistent with the interrogation up to this point, Russell seems to be prouder that he could help than worried that he did.
You've told us several times throughout our conversation that you didn't cause the death.
No.
What I don't understand is they're very obviously like getting ready to charge him with this. He hasn't put that together yet. He's still like, oh, I'm the hero. Oh, I helped protect this girl. Oh, I helped. Not, oh, I'm going to be charged with murder.
I did not.
Do you think he was awake when he got hit?
Probably just falling asleep. All I heard was, like I said, the thuds and the moaning in pain.
One of Ellen's neighbors had also heard Aaron's moans, likening them to an animal dying. That same neighbor declined to interview, stating, "Hello, Abby. Thank you for asking so kindly, but I don't think I'd like to discuss it for your platform. It was a pretty traumatic experience for me personally, so I think I'll have to pass. Have a great day."
Any other stops after you left Aaron's house before you got to Almond Street?
He said he took his gray sweatshirt and put it in a washer over at a friend's house after you guys left, before you go to Almond. Do you remember that?
No, I was probably still terrified that there was a dead body in the trunk right behind me.
Okay.
Russell does not necessarily deserve credit, but take note that this is the first time any one of the individuals involved in this crime expressed discomfort with the fact that Aaron's body was in the trunk of the car while they ran errands.
Yeah.
One of the things that Ellie is telling another detective.
Personally, don't think I'd like having a body in my trunk for any real reason. Especially now while just like running errands.
Is that it actively got talked about as far as planned out, different things got talked about?
Yeah, we talked about it, but never really, I wasn't really going to do anything. Kind of like I could say I'm going to punch a cop, but that doesn't mean I'm going to actually do it.
Russell displays his disdain for authority when he makes an analogy involving punching a cop, which may be a subtle way to threaten the investigator. It also shows his lack of intimidation for their authority and/or lack of social or situational comprehension.
Well, I was agreeing to a degree, but not 100% agree.
Do you think Ellie knew that it wasn't 100%?
I'm not sure what goes through women's heads. If men knew, we'd be able to understand women and not have arguments with their wives. She didn't say anything about him killing her.
This man's never been in a relationship. What do you mean?
Did she say take
Your
him
wives?
Probably. It was a lot of things went on last night.
He said earlier in his little like manifesto type thing, he was like loved but never been loved. Educated but never been taught. Sexy but never called hot.
I'm still terrified that there was a dead body.
Again, Russell is the only member of the trio who expresses shock at the sight and/or presence of a dead body. But what he says next is particularly unsettling.
Did you send anybody text messages? Did you believe what we just did?
No.
Do you believe I'm riding in the car with a dead body?
No, I'm not. I might be blonde, but I'm not stupid. I'm only part blonde.
Ever thinking about trying to see
if I could be Mr. Popular because I have a dead body behind me? No.
No, or if Aaron needed help? Were you pretty convinced he was dead?
Yeah.
You told us that you were a high-functioning autistic?
Yeah.
Okay. So do you know the difference between right and wrong?
sometimes.
Would it be wrong to kill someone?
The investigator brings up Russell's autism and directly asks him questions that a defendant would be asked to see if that defendant is mentally fit to stand trial.
Again, I don't think he sees this as wrong because he sees it as, I don't think he sees this as wrong because he sees it as helping someone else.
Doing this helps defeat a possible insanity defense or mental incapacity defense he may try to use later because of his autism diagnosis.
Should have just asked for a lawyer, dude. You should really just ask for a lawyer.
Mental illness and its role in influencing criminality is highly complex. A mental health professional would spend several hours over multiple sessions determining this. This is only a starting place.
Well, see, here's another trick with that. What's to say that it's wrong to kill someone in self-defense?
Okay, but what if
killing is killing? So,
but what if this isn't self-defense?
Self-defense would be if her dad came at him.
Right, and there's no evidence
versus
of that.
Him getting mad that her father, Aaron, tried to sleep with his daughter.
Okay. Do you think it would be wrong to kill somebody that's sleeping with their daughter?
It's not lawful for fathers to do that with their kids.
Lawful understanding differs from moral understanding. Russell is either aware of what the investigator is attempting to do or exhibiting signs of genuine confusion surrounding morality.
Would you consider yourself an intelligent person?
To some degree.
What is your diagnosis?
Bipolar, which I keep down with cigarettes.
Okay.
Cigarettes do not keep down bipolar disorder. If anything, nicotine ingestion increases the likelihood of the onset of depressive and manic episodes.
Are you just bipolar?
Yeah.
Any schizophrenia?
No.
The investigator may ask this because he also believes that Russell exhibits delusions and, potentially, hallucinations.
That was the entirety of putting this man in a room for half an hour and just like him speaking to no one.
Hallucinations and delusions, as stated previously, are symptoms of psychosis not typically associated with bipolar disorder and more typically associated with psychotic disorders like schizophrenia. Fewer people know that bipolar disorder can occur with psychotic features. This is more likely what Russell is experiencing.
You talked about punching a cop in the face. Do you know it's wrong to punch a cop in the face?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus,
you're not going to get me agree on that.
Kill somebody.
Yes, depending on the situation.
So was it talked about prior to going over there, or while you were over there, that Gavin was going to assault? That Gavin was going to assault the dad?
He said that he didn't like it, and he was not happy with the text either.
Were you upset about that?
Being a protector of females, yes.
Okay.
And if anyone tried to do that to my daughter, I'd probably grab a shotgun too. Because no one harms my family like that.
How did the assault, how was that supposed to happen?
What I don't understand is him being so set on protecting females. You don't see the issue with a child being preyed on by an adult man? Speaking of the boyfriend, like that's the person you should protect them from.
We were supposed to try and find chloroform and knock him out, but we couldn't find any chloroform because it's not online anymore. Gavin told me that he knew some karate. I said, well, is there any pressure points that would not kill him? He said there were.
He said it was a black belt in karate and then tries to fight people and just gets beat up.
And that they would try to, but I guess they didn't want to.
Is the reason that you brought the machete was kind of a backup?
Yeah, just a backup if he was to try and come at one of us. But I wasn't going to go like, I'm going to kill you. No. It's more like, stay back or I will. But it was never needed. So
if Gavin would have said, come on through the window, and Gavin's got a bat, and Gavin says to you, I'm going to take this bat and bash it over his head.
Hypothetically,
what would you have done?
I would have tried to convince him only to break Aaron's rib cage, but not kill him.
Okay.
Just knock him out, probably like one hit, knock him out.
Would you then continue on with trying to convince him to, once he's knocked out, put him in the car and take him to California?
Yeah.
Russell doesn't skip a beat before answering that he would have taken Aaron to California after knocking him out. He is oblivious that guilt would be an appropriate emotional response.
Because
that's the other part of the plan, right?
That was one of the plans, yes.
What's the other plan?
My plan was to tie him in the woods, have a stern talking to him, like, you do not do that to your family. And hopefully that would scare him, and me and Gavin and Ellie would drive off and leave him there, and he can walk
go to
back.
California or somewhere else?
Probably just back to the house and wait till my grandma gave me the RV, and then we were going to take my RV. That was the ultimate plan.
Gavin would later claim that Russell's firm talking to Aaron plan was, in reality, a tie him to a tree and murder him plan.
Oh boy, why do I have a bad feeling about all this?
Jim's going to explain some things to you.
Bags, evidence, probably handcuffs are going to be coming next for all three of us because what we did, well, I didn't beat the crap out of them.
You told me that you spent a lot of time in the watching and doing detective work stuff. So
yeah,
this is a search warrant, okay?
Of Gavin's property?
No, this is for your body. I'm just going to explain that to you. Because part of what we're going to collect...
I have nothing on me except for my clothes.
Okay. Mike, part of what we're going to collect is DNA samples. And that's
bullshit.
Here we see a more blatant display of Russell's anti-authoritarian attitude.
A search warrant can be ate just like my homework by my dog, which I never had.
So, Mike,
I ate
let me explain something, Mike. Because the judge signs
a search warrant can be ate just like my homework by my dog, but I never had a dog, so I ate my own homework. Is what we just got out of this man's mouth. Yeah, dude. Yeah.
a search warrant saying that we're going to collect.
Oh, so a judge?
Judge signed it.
Yeah.
I can't even make that sound.
So let me read this to you, okay? It's long. In the Circuit Court of the State of Oregon for the County of Jackson, search warrant, you are hereby commanded to search a certain...
Commanded.
And Russell Pierce Jones, date of birth 7/11/95, who are currently in police custody.
Not 7/11, it's 7/1.
7/1/95? Okay.
So it's not him. You can't search him.
You're
You
gonna
have the wrong
have to
birthday.
tie me down in a straitjacket to get my evidence.
Okay, and that may happen. Okay, you've been very
Of course,
quiet.
I tend to talk out of my head. Just try not to stick your finger in my mouth.
I won't.
I will bite it.
I'll stick my finger in your mouth, I promise.
I was protecting
I'm a
kid
biter,
once,
dude.
And she had 4 guys hold my arms and legs down. And so she thought I was safe enough to put her hand close to my mouth.
What is going on here?
Rabies shots after I bit her.
Don't bite me, please.
When was the last time you slept?
3 days ago.
Oh.
Individuals who have bipolar disorder struggle to sleep during periods of mania. This is highly suggestive that Russell is experiencing a manic episode, which tracks with the fact that he is also experiencing delusions.
I'm going to stand right there with your back against that wall so I can take some pictures of you.
Please.
Try not to get my face.
I'll get your good side, okay? Promise.
You'd say try not to get my face?
I'll get your good side. Stand back against the wall and face me. Back against the wall and face me. Okay.
Arms
Do I
down
have to
your
hold
side.
this on?
Arms down to your side. Yep.
That's a picture, dude. That is definitely a picture.
And turn and face that way for me. You don't have to hold your mouth open like that.
I know.
Okay, turn and face
I
that way.
just feel like I'm like at school with the photos.
Mike, how tall are you?
Probably. I always say
Face me and hold your hand.
Do you want to guess? Is he going to be one of those dudes that's like, yeah, I'm 6 foot, but he's like 5'10" and 3/4"?
Out in front of you.
How tall?
I always say 6, but I'm actually 5'9" probably.
Okay. I was so close. Anyway, it is hard. It is hard. It is hard. He's bipolar and he's manic. It's hard. It's not up to me. I just have opinions. I'm a silly, opinionated man on the internet. I think the argument is, how long has he been manic? How long has it been planned? and also what his history looks like. They could probably hold him long enough to hopefully come out of the mania and see if he shows regret then, but who knows? Also, I'm sure there's precedent. I'm sure plenty of people have done things while they were manic, and we have like examples. I just don't know what they are.
Hold him up and out a little bit.
Like Hitler or a zombie or something like that.
Okay, just hold him still. Flip him over for me. Bring him down a little bit. Perfect right there, Mike.
Alright.
Face me. Turn around for me, face the
Just
wall.
don't ask me to
blur
take
that
off
out.
my pants.
We're not
I
gonna
have no underwear on.
Okay, turn around, face the wall for me.
What'd you do with your underwear?
And tossed it. I covered
Why?
it with a lot of paper towels though, so.
He did not have the
he
skills
poop
really
himself?
to be on his own, and this was kind of just the final situation for him. I mean, we don't know honestly that he'll even make it out of prison. I don't know. I mean, prison sounds.
If they put him in Gen Pop, if they put him in general population with his like demeanor, he's getting beat up immediately. The way he acts in a superiority complex, he's getting got immediately.
Sounds like a pretty rough place. So
he doesn't get the severity of what Gavin did. He still wants to help her. I go, she lied to you about all this abuse and all that. It was all lies. Well, you know what? I
Did
still
he
would
put his
like
shirt
to
on
help if I
backwards?
could. Oh my goodness. That's how he is. I kid you not.
So what's the situation with Ellie? Will she be going home, or what's her case?
In 2019, Ellen Fryer was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder and conspiracy to commit a Class A felony and sentenced to 25 years in prison, spending 10 of those years in a juvenile correctional facility. Russell was convicted of conspiracy to commit murder and attempt to commit a Class A felony. He was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison.
What? That's nuts. So the guy we've been looking at the whole time got 7.5 years. She got 25.
A Class A felony. He was sentenced to 7.5 years in prison. Gavin was convicted of murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and tampering with physical evidence, and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years.
That would make sense.